Thank you. Hello. Hello, everybody. So, can you hear me, Pierre?
Perfectly.
Cool. If you don't, please speak up. Thank you. So, we have now the next half hour for us to discuss taxes. And it's actually Swiss taxes. So who of you is interested in Swiss taxes? Please raise your hands. Oh, we got 5.
Swiss taxes.
Pardon?
Uber is it? Is it included? Uber taxi?
No, it's
Not or Swiss taxi?
Das ist so important.
taxes. Swiss taxes, Swiss tax. So now most of you are awake, that's good. But are you interested in the topic?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes? Great. Pardon? How to avoid? Well, move to North Pole. Otherwise, we don't inform about avoidance, but we have a new service in Money Park, which we learned from DL, which is about optimizing taxes. And
Taxi means tax.
tax.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would say the main audience I have made this talk for is for the developers in Kiev and in Zurich, because I want to give you the customer side for the technical API and for the technical solution that we will build together. So I want to give you the meaning, the user story behind the technical part, because I think it helps our collaboration. I think for the developers in DL is all known stuff, so if you're new it's not so interesting. And for Finovo, I think it can be nice that you see how advisory works in Money Park, because I learned yesterday that it's quite different in Finovo. So in order for you to understand the customer need, I will need to give you also a bit of background about the Swiss tax system, like basic background, and about the social security system in Switzerland, very basic. And then when you have this information, I can connect it with this Logismata API. So we have a service provider which is called Logismata, which is based in Zurich, who has all the tax experts. And we connect to them to their calculation services to get then the detailed output where you pay how much tax for a certain taxable income. So the questions that our customers ask are, if I move from one place to a home that I buy, how will it change my taxes? And then the second question, how can I avoid taxes, like Julia? Or how can I at least save taxes? Can I save? How much can I save? And we want to cater to this need. We already do it on our website with a tax calculator where you can calculate if I move from one city to another city, how does that change my situation? Because you need to know, in Switzerland we're a small country with 41,000 square meters, but we have 26 cantons, and each of these cantons has its own tax law. And within this you have hundreds of villages and cities, and they all have their own tax rate. So actually moving from one village to another can change your taxes quite a lot. So on our website we have a calculator where you can just check this part. If I live in another community, what is the change in my taxes? then it goes further. If you change from a rental person to a homeowner, then it also changes your taxable income. So the way it works in Switzerland, we're not taxed directly when we receive the money from the company in normal cases, like in most cases. This is only the case really for foreigners who haven't been so long in Switzerland. If from the moment where you have a permanent residency permit C, then you have to file for taxes. You have to every year hand in some paper or do it electronically where you explain what you earn, and you can take some deductions, and then based on that your taxable income will be calculated and your taxes will be calculated.
But we also have to.
Yeah.
Foreign people also have to.
Yeah, I don't know for you. You
No,
might
I
be
mean,
source
who doesn't
taxed
have C
or
permit. Who doesn't have C permit also has to fix tax return.
yeah.
fixed fee.
So there's both models. Yeah.
What are you B or C?
I B, but I also feel tax return.
But
Yeah.
the taxes are deducted directly from the salary.
It's deducted plus tax
Yes.
return and deducted additionally.
But what Sylvia is referring to, if you have a C or a Swiss citizen, then you don't, the taxes are not deducted. You get your salary.
Yeah, I know. But I mean that everybody has to feel this tax return, regardless.
Not everybody. If you earn below a certain threshold, you don't have to do it.
Okay.
Not everyone has to do. Yeah, so we also, in the advisory process, we also help to understand how owning a house actually changes this calculation that you do in your tax filing. And so in the first meeting, we want to give a teaser of our tax services. So we want to show that we have expertise and that it actually has an impact in how it works, but not spoil everything and not give out all the details. And then after signing the advisory agreement, we give the full calculation so that people know how they actually can do it. So, as I said, I need to give you a bit of a background how it works in Switzerland. So this calculation that you do in your tax filing, I will now just summarize here. So, as discussed, normally you have some contract where it says you receive a gross income, but actually on normal people or on most people's account, the net income will be there. So there will be some deductions for Social Security. There will be some deductions for Social Security, but most of the salary will land on your account and you have to pay tax later, after filing. So when you file your tax return, you give some information about deductions. For example, the interest that you pay for your mortgage is a deduction that you can take. Or renovations that you take on your house, you can take as a standard deduction or actual. So you get to your taxable income. That taxable income will be multiplied with some taxation rate to arrive at the taxes that will be billed to you. Then there's some other types of taxes that we also have to pay, but the income taxes are the biggest part. You're still there? Good. So, and now how does that connect to the API we have with Logismata? So as I mentioned, the village or city where you live matters. So one of the calls we do to Logismata is we first need to find the zip in order to identify the actual village where you are taxed. So there's a search locations functionality. And then there's a calc taxable values JSON. So that's the name, and what it actually does, it takes this calculation. So most people would know their gross income, but not necessarily their taxable income. So we have, by this JSON, the opportunity to help people estimate their taxable income. And then there's another one called Calc Simple Taxes JSON, and then this one gives us this step from the taxable income to the tax that one pays. And we use these in all these places where we provide a tax service. So far, so good. Questions? Vasil, looks like a question.
No. Just observing what just technical words about this. So,
Maybe can you speak up so that everyone hears you? Thank you.
Provides in this sense us like endpoint where we can send the data from this steps and get the information about that. And these are sort of the names of the methods they have, or so to say API endpoints. So yes, they call it in this weird way because they probably use Java a lot. They have Java view, and but yeah, it's just one thing I wanted to say because we do have this method as well in other shape or form. We use it to for retirement collection, and that is like they provide for us a JavaScript file, and they update it every time the law updates. So therefore, we always keep up to date. But that is not a big difference. So just to give a separation.
I will also add something. Why not? As we discussed, because you asked me just before why everyone should know about it. For me, it's very important that everyone knows about it. Like you all knows about this Swiss Life API. You know about WhoopNet because it's things that are used in many places and are critical for us. And we expect the tax to be more and more used everywhere. In the meeting, in the website, different places in the meeting. So yes, that's why it's very important.
Can I also add something? So we're using, so what Sylvia just explained, we have an Excel sheet, which in the meantime to learn how the tax calculation deduction is done. So exactly the second meeting is now covered in an Excel sheet where it exists. The API is between the Excel and Numismator service. So our advisors can today already do the calculation for the second meeting based on Excel. And once we learn more, we'll take that and put it then back into the service. And DL has been using this Excel sheet for a long time. We copied it from them, so thanks guys. And now we're introducing it then with the help of Sylvia into the new guys obviously into the platform. Have a question?
It's not final slide. So I have three more. Three more. But pardon?
Third pillar.
Third pillar.
It's a question how the third pillar is coming into the picture. Yes, so that is a deduction that you can take here. So thank you. I told Lior he should ask this question because it takes me to the next slide. So now we want to drill more into detail how we get from net income to income taxes, and in particular when you own a property in Switzerland. So the concept 3A will come after. We first look at just when you move from a rental situation to your own house. There is something called rental value, which is an invention of Switzerland, which is a hypothetical income that you have to add on top of your income in the tax filing.
But rental means when you let it out. What means
So-
rental?
Yeah,
Rental
it's-
I pay rent.
The question is why is it called rental value? It's a hypothetical income, but it somehow should reflect what you save because you don't have to rent if you own something, or
So if
what
I
you
have
would
house,
earn.
I rent it from myself. And
Yes.
this is the amount.
Yes, you can look at it that
And
way.
who decides how much the rent costs?
Depends
That's
on
the-
canton.
It's the
Canton decides.
the tax
For each
authority.
flat?
Even not the canton, but the community.
The tax authority will tell.
So each flat has.
Different rental income.
The tax authority will actually tell for each object the rental income. In the end, they decide, and there can be different rules everywhere.
And you can discount this rental.
The rental value comes on top of your income.
Okay,
It's
this value I
hypothetical.
can know before I buy flat. It's available somewhere.
It's normally in the tax return, tax statement of the previous owner, or you can get it from the authorities.
Okay, but if my flat is damaged for some reason, that doesn't decrease my rental value?
Not I don't know.
Damage, I don't think so. But it can change over time. Like if your value of your property goes up, there might be a re-evaluation and it might increase, for example.
So
This
without
happens.
letting me know. So they just inform me or they increase renting value to the
I
flat.
don't know it from my own experience, but I think then they pretty much will inform you.
There's a rule of thumb, it's 30% or 70% of the value of the house.
Okay. But I think we need to speed.
Yeah. Yes, we need also. Just need to check something. Failed to connect. I think there is no internet, Masha, so we'll continue like this. Sorry.
Okay.
Sasha was trying to follow your slow from Kiev.
Okay. But you have also benefits if you own a house because you can deduct the interest that you pay. So what you actually pay as interest on your mortgage, you can deduct from your taxable income. So it increases on the one hand for the rental value, but it decreases for the interest, and you can also take a deduction for renovations that you do. So I think it was designed at some point that it should level out more or less and
So
create
if
this
I have
equal
damage
system.
and I fixed it, that expense I deduct, I can put it as expense in my tax return.
Yeah, so if it's the question is about this renovation,
Yes.
what is it? So if it's if you maintain your house to maintain its value, but you actually invest on that, you can deduct from your taxable income, or you can also take a standard deduction, depending on what's more. Both is possible. So then you get to a different taxable income. It's a difference in this example, it's going up. You have a different taxation rate because it's probably in another location, and then you come to a new tax situation, which we can help the customers to understand. You have many questions.
So I have a question. If I have flat outside Switzerland, it also has rental value.
Doesn't affect it. But you have to declare it in your tax declaration.
Yeah, I have to declare it.
But it increase my income, taxable
You
income.
have your assets. You increase your assets, and if you're renting it out and getting money from it,
Mhm.
that might increase your taxable income.
But if I do not let it out, then it doesn't increase my income.
Probably not, but I cannot tell you this. You should ask your tax advisor.
So then I would like to also explain the concept of the marginal tax rate. When we call Logismata, to get from here to here. To get from here to here, we do internal in our platform. When we call Logismata to get from here to here, we get the taxes, but we also get the marginal tax rate, which is sometimes very helpful. So I would like to explain it quickly. If you have here the income tax as a function of taxable income. Then you have here a steepness of 40%, so a marginal tax rate of 40%. That's very helpful because you can very quickly estimate how a change in your taxable income changes your taxes. So if you have here plus 1,000 francs in taxable income, you can quickly estimate it's plus 600 in your taxes.
And when I buy property in Switzerland, do I have
It's
to,
400.
I
Sorry.
pay lower, yeah? Lower is involved in this.
Lottery.
Yeah, so I pay him for his work. And is it is it expense? It's can it be considered as deduction from my income, or it's just
Sorry, what's the
It's
question?
cost of buying. So Patrick can know that. Patrick, can you deduct the cost of buying from from the income from the payments?
You mean the transaction costs, or what do you mean?
But notary fees is cantonal, so some are fixed and some are a bit higher. So it also depends on where you are. It's not super high. But depending on the canton, we calculate 5% of the profit in
Yeah. Let's. Sorry.
Okay,
Is the timekeeper.
Yeah.
we can have a chat bilaterally if you want about individual tax
How many
questions.
billion does it cost for a private
Consultation.
Each consultation.
It's going to be very busy today.
Okay, so if that's good, I will continue to the next slide where I will give you a brief summary of the Swiss social security system, how we build reserves for going into pension, and also what's the connection of this to taxes. And then comes your 3A here. So in the Swiss social security system, there are 3 pillars. So the first pillar is the one that is federal, so from the state. Everyone should pay in. So anybody should pay in from a certain age. And it's the objective, the purpose of it is to secure your basic existence. So once you get into retirement, you get a small rent from this first pillar. Second pillar is occupational. So yourself, as you're working, as well as your employer, both pay into the second pillar. And the purpose of this second pillar is to maintain your living standard also when you are retired. So over time, people save quite a bit of money in the second pillar. So for example, our customers. The third pillar, that is private. So you can decide yourself whether you want to do it or not. And it's supposed to be some extra for your extra wishes or as extra security, depending on what you think you will need when you go into retirement. There's 2 parts, 3A and 3B. In 3A, if you pay into that, it's tax deductible. You can deduct it from your income, taxable income, which reduces your taxable income and reduces hence your taxes. And for those resident in Switzerland, I think it's something that is recommendable to do. If you have some spare money, you can put aside. I do it every year. So then over time, you can save a bit for later. And you could also use this to buy a property if that's ever in your scope. So also the people who are taxed at source, I think they can do it. So then I think you need to file a form where you explain that you paid in, and they will then adjust your rate. That's how I understand it. So this pillar 3A, you can deduct it from your taxable income and save taxes. And also in the second pillar, you have the possibility to pay in more than normal, and then you can take a tax deduction.
You also tax deduction.
So if you don't do anything special, you don't get any deduction for this second pillar. But you can look up on your slip from the pension fund.
No,
It will-
I know. I'm just
sorry.
talking about third pillar, A and B. Yes or no?
Yes. No, I was mentioning that 3A and second pillar voluntary contributions can be deducted from taxable income. Then it's also interesting to know that the second pillar and third pillar can be used when you buy a property. So that's also relevant for our customers, and that's why we have second pillar and third pillar already on the customer information page in our meeting platform as assets. And then in the affordability page, we can select them and we can decide whether we want to use them or we want to pledge them. If the customer withdraws them to down pay on the house, he uses them, then there will be a tax also, because it's kind of an income, but it's a separate tax rate.
Separate.
a separate-
So it doesn't go to common income, it just comes.
It's on the side. It's a separate calculation.
Okay.
So,
But what difference between 3A and 3B?
so the 3A is
The 3A you
restricted,
explained,
so it will
and
be
3B.
kind of fixed and you have limitations how you can use it, and 3B is basically free. It's anything else. Actually,
So it's
you
not
could even say a
even-
bank account is a
Yeah, I
3B.
can keep it
very-
on my account. So any savings is 3B. Can be considered.
Technically, yes, it's correct. But there's kind of 3B insurance, etc. So 3B has a lot of products that are sold connected to it. I personally don't have 3B.
It's have to be a special account. It's not just it's one account.
But what difference for me between keeping money in 3B special account or keeping it in my account?
Because if it's a special account, it's that tax in that credit.
No. They
No,
said
3B is not deductible from tax. So, I mean, yeah, I don't have 3B.
Well, there could be some because we've done this project before in terms of pension planning, which we've done before 2 years ago. And Vadim was involved in that as well from Kiev. So in a 3A has certain limitations. So if you can spend
No,
more
3A
than
is-
6,738 Swiss francs for this year and a bit more next year, so that's strict. For 3B, many people put a lot of money there and they buy like life insurance, for instance. So life insurance, which would be expensive, but in case, for example, for Money Park, imagine the situation like in case you in case you have a life insurance product from some provider, that could be considered as discount. So if you have a life insurance from Swiss Life, let's say, it's possible that they would lower your interest rate.
Yeah, so there's insurance. 3B, there's a lot of insurance products that MoneyPark also advises on. So then we have, it's not related to
So 3B
taxes,
is just kind of
but
abstraction.
you can have a bundle with the mortgage.
Yes. They also have some certain interest rates which could be different from your regular interest rate that you have on your account. So that's why it's different. It has different regulations, and it helps generally banks and insurances to kind of sustain their businesses themselves, because you can't withdraw that money immediately.
Okay, kind of like deposit in action.
Well, it's deposit, but we can discuss it later. It's a bit different.
Let's does some people have questions regarding the task?
So tomorrow there's another tax.
Yes, there is a tax optimization tool. Here it marks the general presentation, how it works. Sylvia will explain GL methodology and how they do for optimizing the tax. Is it
correct?
Yeah. So today was basics and just how do my tax change and why. And then tomorrow we look at optimum financing, which is maximum financing, about increasing the mortgage. And second, about optimizing taxes, thanks to having more money available for tax optimization.
So although in this example that Sylvia showed, the person after he bought the house has a higher taxable income, this is not always the case, because normally you can, in some instances, in some combinations, you can save money in taxes by buying a house. So in the end, if Swiss Life gives you 1.55% and Credit Suisse gives you 1.56%, the difference is not big. The biggest difference is when you go to the taxes and optimize your finance strategy, you can save much more money than with a better interest rate. So this concept
could be situation.
It's a teaser for tomorrow.
For you to have higher rate interest rate. Could be situations for you it's better to have higher rates, one rate than lower.
But yes, you could
You can
pay
have to
more
say-
higher interest rate, but
Yes.
save more taxes overall.
For the next phase, Thomas.
We can start tomorrow with this as a wrap up.
Thank you, Lotte.